Welcome to another video here. I'm going to continue and we're actually going to finish project one. So I'm going to create an email link and I'm going to go through the naming and the title documents. I'm not a big fan of how they have the titling documents with the find and replace. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to caution you as to whether or not you really should do that. So let's start off with the email link. It's really very simple. An email link is nothing more than a hyperlink that has a little bit something different. It's going to say mail to, a colon, and then it's going to have an actual email address as opposed to a file. So what we need to do is we need to open up the contact file and we need to find info at here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select a little bit of it and I'm going to go into code view. And that makes it easy to find. I'll show you that again without selecting it. I'm just going to click in here. And if you have a large file, it can be a little bit challenging to find. So let's go back to design view and we'll select a little bit here, go into code view and notice that it's there. I am very partial to selecting things in code view. That way I know exactly what I'm selecting. However, you may do it however way that you want. So let's select it over here. And I've mentioned several times that there's more than one way to do something. So let's start off with clicking on the insert, which is the book's going to tell you, and it's going to tell you to go down to email link. And notice it's got email link and some information. Look at this and you'll see another way to do it, which is exactly the difference. So we have insert, and again, we don't have a email link. We do have a hyperlink, but we need to go to HTML and get basically the same thing that's there. Notice if you look on the right, you'll see div, image, paragraph, table, figure, basically identical over here. So we'll go down to email link, and we have it over here. And then we're going to click on OK. And notice that it fills in mail to, a colon, and all that information for you. You could, if you wanted to, just type in mail to and so forth and the email link. That's totally up to you. I'm going to save this right now. I'm going back to design view. And notice that the text color is a little bit different and that there is a line underneath it. That is your CSS formatting. When we get into that, there's a whole chapter on that. You'll see that there's links and other attributes called hover, visited, and active. Those are different things that will change when you hold your mouse over after you visit a site. If you remember, most of the time you visit a site and the links turn purple or some other code. That's because the visited takes over. More on that later on. So we've done up to 5. We've looked at the link, number 6, and we're going to save the file and close it. That takes care of that. I'm going to leave it open just because I'm obstinate. So I'm going over to page 49, and we're going to rename pages for search engine optimization. I touched on that briefly with the heading tags, the H1 through 6. If you have a document that is not named, and meaning the title, on the top of your browser is going to say untitled document, which is not very professional. If you want to do business and they look at that, most people will say, if they can't get their website correct, I don't want to do business with them. I know that's the way I feel. But another benefit of putting a good title in is your search engine optimizations. Look for those titles. So when you're searching for bakery, you're searching for something in the city, you're searching for Home Depot or any of those things like there, the title over there is very helpful, as well as the description, some of the other meta tags, which we will talk about, and the H1 through H6 tags. So it tells us to rename pages for search optimization. And on page 49, we're going to open up and change the menu. So we can do this right from files. You don't actually have to open it up. There's many ways to do it. Now, I've already done this. So I'm going to change it back and then change it in there. So it was menu 1. This is what you have. And I'll make sure to update it. And this one was menu 2. Okay. So I'm going to right click on menu 1 and I'm going to go to edit, which is really a long way of going around it. Click on rename and we're going to type dinner menu. Notice all lowercase. Notice that it has a dash in there. Once I click on it, it gives me all this information here. These files are all going to get updated, so make sure that you click on update. And here on menu 2, I'm just going to hit the F2 key, and that allows me to rename it. So I'm now turning the page. I'm on number 4. So I'll type lunch menu. Now, nothing asks us to update because there's nothing that is looking specifically at the menu 2 file. If we had something going there, it would do that. All right, so now we're going to create title documents for individual pages. I'm not a real big fan about the way they want you to do it. I'm going to go over what they tell you to do, and I'm going to leave it up to you if you want to do it. I'm going to just change this site in here. So the first thing is we need to examine the title field, so we have to go into split. And you'll see that it says title, untitled document. So if I were to browse, this is exactly what would be on the top over here. So it tells us to click find and replace. Well, I'm clicking on find and I see something that says find and replace in files, but it doesn't exactly say just find and replace. So we're going to choose find and replace in files. And then it's going to ask us, what do we want to type? Well, in untitled document, it actually sensed that. We could also type in entitled document. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in untitled. Okay, and it should, if you're doing the find and replace, it should highlight for you. So let's make this a capital U here. And we're going to replace it. So I'm going to do it a different way. And I'm going to click on find to show you that there's more things. Find in current document. And now I'm going to type the word untitled document here. And you can see that it's actually selecting all the text that does it. So now I'm going to go back to find and replace in files. And it's already there. It's telling me the entire local site. So we're going to choose the current site. So let's do a drop-down menu and notice that it doesn't have that. So now you're starting to understand why I'm telling you it's not a good idea to do it this way, especially if you select the entire site, you may change something that you really don't want to. But we're going to do it anyway. So we're going to, in the find and choose current site, which is entire current site. Then we're moving on, and in replace field, we're going to put Kinetic Bistro, Lancaster, California. So let's type in Kinetic Bistro, Lancaster, California. Now, I told you in the very beginning I'm a terrible speller. Here is your proof. Lancaster. Include a space after the final pipe character, and then click on replace all. Now, once you click on replace all, it should replace every one of these, assuming we spelled it right. So boom. Okay, it gives you a warning that you cannot the undone documents that are currently not open. Are you sure? So we're going to click yes. And now we're done. And you can see it went in there and changed all of these documents. So that takes care of that. For those of you that are familiar with Microsoft Word and you hit Control F and choose the replace option of that, one of the options is to replace all. So you should always be careful of that, especially in spell check as well. So these are all the find and replace options that are there. Pretty cut and dry. And then we're going to change the page titles of the following pages as well. We have contact, events, menus, both the dinner and that. So let's go into the contact file. And we'll go back to number 13 and we'll go back to number 15. So let's go number 17 is open up the contact file. And we're going to change the title of that. Let's change it a different way. Let's close this group. And let's go into design mode over here. And here's the document title. So let's just change it here. And let's make this address and contact information. Let's go back into code view and you'll see that it took care of that address. And so let's save that. Let's do events. And this time I'm going to do it from here. So we're going to find the title. And let's change that to special event facilities. Then we have the dinner menu and a lunch menu. So dinner menu. Let's just change it again down here. We'll call it dinner menu. And notice that you have to click outside of that before it'll change. And lunch menu. Lunch menu. Done. Save everything. Let's close this. We'll close this. Okay, we're going to click at the end of the existing page title and place insertion point immediately before the closing title tag and put gourmet casual dining. So I'm going to let you do that. That's on the index file. So I've got it over here. And we're just going to add to it. We're not going to change it. And we're going to put gourmet, casual, dining. Now, don't hit the enter key here. Just click somewhere else, and you'll probably have to choose refresh. Save it, and we're done. The last thing we're going to talk about is cloaking. We did briefly talk about that. So I'm going to go back into my site. Let me close this. Let me close this. If we went into our site and manage site, this is the Kinetic site. And I talked about cloaking. Cloaking hides from the web server if you're going to synchronize. Synchronize means go and look at the web server, take a look at all the files you have on your site, anything that's new or changed. it's a two-way thing. If it's changed on the web server, it'll change it down here. If it's changed over here, depending upon how you synchronize. So this is going to find all new files. You're not going to necessarily want Flash files or Photoshop files on there. They're large and they're not anything that a person is going to look at. However, you may want to back them up just to be on the safe side, but it's normally a waste of space. Most people are going to have something backed up anyway. So we have the cloaking. We're going to enable cloaking, and these are all the files that are going to be hidden. Do not worry about the SAS, SCSS, and MAP. So let's go into our resources. Oops. And you'll see that tables is a Photoshop file. It's got a slash there, and what that means is it's hidden. However, if you wanted to manually update it and send it to the server, you can just put it on that over here. Once you set your site up, we are going to talk about setting up sites. Barry has set up individual FTP sites for you to upload your files. So we will be doing that within the next couple of days. I will have a video on exactly how to do that. It's easy to do, and once it's done, it's set it and forget it. That's all for this video. Look forward to having you again.